All right, welcome. When you're servicing a fuel pump top cover, precision is everything, right? One wrong move and you're looking at leaks, or even worse, damage. So today, we're going to walk through the official procedure, step by step, to make sure your next overhaul is done right, safely, cleanly, and successfully. Let's get into it.
So, here it is. This is the whole shebang, the fuel pump top cover assembly. You could say it's really the heart of the fuel delivery system. Today we're going to guide you through the full service, from safe disassembly and overhauling the internal components, all the way to proper remounting.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We've broken this down into 4 key parts. First up, prep and safety. Then we'll dive into dismantling the cover, followed by overhauling the components inside. And finally, we'll cover mounting and all those crucial final checks.
All right, let's kick things off with Part 1, Preparation and Safety first. And honestly, this is the most important phase of the entire job. If you get these initial steps right, you're going to save yourself a ton of headaches and potential injuries down the line.
Okay, so before you even dream of putting a wrench on this thing, you have to isolate the system. First things first, shut off that fuel oil inlet. Done? Good. Now, find the drain cock. You'll see it at the bottom of the pump housing, and get that thing open. You've got to let every last drop of oil drain out from that high-pressure pipe and the pump itself.
And listen, this next point is absolutely non-negotiable. The manual singles this out with a big note, so we're going to pause on it for a second. Before you take apart anything on this fuel pump, you must be 100% certain that all the pressure is gone and all the oil is drained. Seriously, there are no shortcuts here.
Okay, now that the system is drained and safe, you can get on with the final prep. You're going to dismount all the drain pipes, then the connections to the puncture valve, and finally those high-pressure pipes that run between the top cover and the fuel valves. Once all that's disconnected, you're officially ready to take that cover off. Moving on to Part 2, Dismantling the top cover. The prep work is done, so now it's time to actually get this cover separated from the pump housing.
Okay, first things first, let's get those top cover fixing nuts off. Once you've got them removed, take a look at the top cover. You'll spot 2 specific threaded holes. These are important. This is where you're going to mount the special dismantling screws.
And this right here, this is a really clever piece of engineering. Check out diagram 2. When you start tightening these dismantling screws, they don't actually hold the cover down. Nope, they push against the pump housing, and that pressure cleanly and evenly lifts the cover and the suction valve right up. It's basically a built-in jack for breaking that seal without having to pry at anything.
So, once the cover is popped loose, go ahead and remove those dismantling screws. Now you're going to grab the dedicated lifting tool, the part number is D09-27, and mount it in those very same threaded holes. With that tool attached securely, you can lift the entire top cover assembly off. Nice and careful, nice and even.
Okay, stop right here. This is so important. That old gasket you just took off, throw it away. Seriously, get rid of it. Don't even think for a second about reusing it. These gaskets are single-use parts for a reason. They're designed to crush down and create a perfect seal exactly one time. If you try to reuse it, you're pretty much guaranteeing a leak later on. And that brings us right to Part 3, which is really the heart of the whole job, overhauling the key components. This is where that precision and attention to detail are going to make all the difference. Okay, so what you're seeing here is basically the before and after of the suction valve. On the left is completely disassembled, just like in diagram 2. And on the right, there it is, fully overhauled and reassembled. This is our roadmap for the next couple of steps. So here's how we're going to do it. First, you'll dismantle the suction valve and that lock washer. Now, this next step is critical. You need to protect the oil ducts by filling them up with Vaseline or some heavy grease. Why? Because you don't want any metal filings getting into the system. Next, you'll use a miller to resurface the seat until it's perfectly smooth. And to finish, you'll grab some compressed air and thoroughly blow out all that grease and any debris from the milling process.
And here we go, another note straight from the manual that absolutely deserves its own spotlight. It says, make sure that all bores and threads inside the top cover are absolutely clean. And they mean it. Even the tiniest speck of dirt, a little bit of old grease, or a metal filing left behind can wreck your seal, clog a passage, or just cause everything to wear out way too fast. When they say clean, they mean spotless.
All right, the hard part is over. Now we're on to Part 4, mounting and final checks. Let's get this beautifully overhauled cover back where it belongs. But hold on, before we lower that cover back on, there are 3 essential prep steps. First, double check that the inside of the pump housing is perfectly clean. Second, put your brand new gasket in place. And finally, you're going to lubricate all the sliding faces, the studs, and the seal rings with molybdenum disulfide, or MOS2. This stuff is a high-pressure lubricant that's going to prevent any galling and make sure everything slides together and seats just right. Okay, everybody, stop. Pay very close attention here. This is a direct warning from the manual. Before you even think about putting the nuts on, you need to turn the engine over by 1 full revolution. And as you're doing this, you have to watch that top cover. It absolutely, positively must not move upwards. If you see it lift even a little bit, something isn't seated right. Tightening it down at that point could cause catastrophic damage. This is your final, critical mechanical check. Don't skip it.
All right, so once you've done that check and you're positive the cover is seated properly, now you can mount the fixing nuts, and this is key. You have to tighten them in a diagonal, crisscross pattern, just like you see in the diagram. People call it a star pattern. This ensures you get nice, even pressure all the way around the gasket for that perfect seal. And of course, always use a torque wrench and tighten to the exact spec listed in your datasheets. No guessing.
And just like that, we are on the home stretch. Go ahead and mount your new or your freshly overhauled puncture valve, then put on its protective cap and screws. After that, it's just a matter of methodically remounting all the pipes, the high-pressure pipe, the drain pipes, and the connecting pipes. And the very last thing you'll do is open up that fuel oil inlet and bring the whole system back online.
Okay, so if you walk away with nothing else from this, please remember these 4 things. 1. Safety is always first. Always depressurize and drain the system before you start. 2. Never reuse a gasket. Just don't. 3. Read the warnings in the manual. They're there to save you and the equipment. And 4. Cleanliness isn't just a suggestion. It is absolutely paramount for this job to be a success.
And that's it. That is the entire procedure from start to finish. You know, now that you've seen it all laid out like this, it kind of makes you think, right? On your next overhaul, what's that one component or that one step you're going to pay a little extra attention to? Maybe it's the milling of the valve seat, or maybe it's that final engine turn check. Something to think about.